it's true.
Now, a lot of people believe this one. All religions of the world are essentially the same.
Yes, I spent some time on this in my book because the idea today is to take Jesus, this no-frills Jesus, the designer Jesus, and put him on a continuum with other religious teachers, and to point out that he is not unique at all. And we need to be able to answer that. And I hope that there are people who are listening today who realize that our intention is to help them to witness to their friends. Others who are listening have children in high school or college who need to be armed with resources to be able to answer these ideas that are floating around on the internet and are gaining so much play in our schools today.
Well, those are the presuppositions we had. Now let's go on to the actual lies that you list in your book, Slandering Jesus. And lie number 1 is that the bones of Jesus have indeed been found. James Cameron is famed as the director of the movie Titanic. On March 4th, 2007, the Discovery Channel aired his production of The Lost Tomb of Jesus, claiming that Jesus' family tomb had been found. 10 small caskets had been unearthed in a Jerusalem suburb in 1980, one of which bore the title, Jesus, Son of Joseph. What do you make of all this?
Well, that's such a long story, and I know that documentary received so much publicity in the press. But let's begin right there. What about the phrase that is on an ossuary, Jesus, son of Joseph? Even that very phrase is debatable, because that ossuary, and by the way, an ossuary is a bone box. It's the place supposedly where the bones of Jesus were placed. That ossuary happens to be the graffiti ossuary. It's a mess. It's got all kinds of scrawling on it, including some Greek letters. And so even that is debatable. And then let's go on to the other person who supposedly is buried there, Mary Magdalene. There is an ossuary with the phrase, Miriamne e Mara. And it is said by that documentary of James Cameron's that this is a reference to Mary Magdalene, to whom Jesus was married. How do they know that Miriamne is Mary Magdalene? Well, they have to go to a 4th century document. And that document talks about a woman who spoke Greek, who was the sister of Philip, and she has the name Miriamne. And so based on that, they try to connect it with Mary Magdalene. Now, do you begin to see how shallow the evidence is becoming? And if we were to go down the list, you'd see that ultimately it's like sand through your fingers. But you know the way in which the reasoning of that documentary was, if it sounds like a duck, if it quacks like a duck, if it lays duck eggs and walks like a duck, then surely it must be a camel. That's the kind of thought process that goes into this. I know that we don't have time to go into all of the other details, but the whole issue of probability, could this be the tomb of Jesus? Well, there are 80 tombs and 20 ossuaries that have the name of Jesus on them. 1 out of every 20 men during the time of Jesus was named Jesus. So as you begin to go through this, 25% of the women were named Mary. That's why when this tomb was found in 1980, scholars saw some similarities in the names with the names of those who are in the New Testament, but they discounted it. And now this whole idea has been picked up, and it became this very, very important documentary. The fact is that the evidence for the resurrection of Jesus Christ is strong and powerful. And the whole idea that this tomb is the family tomb of Jesus simply does not make sense. I wish we could go into this in more detail and point out some of the presuppositions that James Cameron has. For example, he says that until now we didn't even know that Jesus existed because we had no fingerprints. Well, stop and think about that. Do we have fingerprints of Plato or Julius Caesar? Do we have a portrait drawn from real life? No. We don't have this for any historical figure. So what he has done is set up a situation in which all of the good evidence of Jesus Christ's death and resurrection and existence is totally discounted. And what they do is they go into the flimsy evidence that is presented so powerfully by means of television. But I need to say in conclusion that even those who were involved in the process, the DNA and other kinds of information that was used on that telecast, even some of them soon began to back away from the conclusions. And what we need to do is to affirm to people that the evidence for the resurrection of Jesus Christ is strong and really historically incontrovertible.
Well, that's lie number one, as the world today continues to slander Jesus. The concept of someone dying for the sins of another is hard to take by those who think I'm okay and you're okay. On Monday's Running to Win, we'll examine lie number two, that Jesus did not die on the cross at all. Thanks so much, Dr. Lutzer.
Thank you, Dave.
The lies being told about Jesus need to be answered, and they have been, in Dr. Lutzer's book, Slandering Jesus. This Tyndale House book is must-reading for Christians who want to be able to give answers to those whose opinion of Jesus is being formed from the lies told in our culture. There's a copy of Slandering Jesus waiting for you. For your gift of any amount to Running to Win, you'll receive your personal copy of this crucial case for the real Jesus. Simply call us at 1-800-215-5001. That's 1-800-215-5001. Or you can write to Running to Win, 1609 North LaSalle Boulevard, Chicago, Illinois, 60614. Enclose a gift of any amount and tell us you'd like to receive Slandering Jesus. Online, go to runningtowin.org for full information on this book offer and on the many ministries of Moody Church. Don't forget, Running to Win is supported by listeners like you. This is Dave McAllister. Was Jesus really crucified? Don't miss Monday's Running to Win.